Hey guys, Smelling Roses here. Today I'm out in the woods along the crest of Turkey Cock Mountain. I'm in the foothills of Southern Virginia along the Franklin-Henry County lines. In a tradition going back thousands of years, today we're going to be brewing up some pine needle tea. Pine needles have been used for medicinal purposes by native peoples all around the world, including here in North America. It's very high in vitamin A and vitamin C. It's an excellent drink to combat colds and other illnesses related to vitamin C deficiency. Now you can use a lot of different kinds of pines to make your tea. There are many species of pines, but and you can do your own research as to which pines are usable and which ones are not. However, certainly the best one is the one we have here today. This is a branch I harvested from this is the eastern white pine. This pine is recognizable because the bark is much smoother than most pine trees, although it's certainly not smooth. And it has this white grayish color. Also, the needles will be long, and you will find them in clusters of 5 needles. So this is the pine that you really want to look for if you're going to try to make pine needle tea. You want to look for a healthy tree, and you're gonna want to just pull the needles from it like this. Just grab a big handful. As I mentioned, these are very rich in vitamin A and vitamin C. You can even just take these and chew on them. If you don't want to make the tea and you need vitamin C when you're out in the woods, just take these pine needles and chew on them. The action of chewing will release oils that are in the needles. You don't want to swallow or eat the needles themselves, but just chewing on these and mixing those oils with your saliva will get you a good dosage of vitamin C. When you're collecting your leaves, your needles, you'll find they have a little woody point here. You're going to want to remove that and then chop your needles up into small pieces. I have seen guys just take the whole stick and put it in the water. You certainly can do that. I have tried it before, and it has good results, but it seems to release more flavors if you can chop those needles up. Okay guys, so if I wanted to do this in true woodsman or bushcrafting style, I would need to build a fire here, but unfortunately I don't really have the time to go to those lengths today. It takes a considerable amount of time to build a adequate pit, collect the fuel for the fire, wait for the fire to establish some good coals for cooking, then of course extinguish the fire properly and safely. So to save time today, I'm just going to be heating my water with the camp stove. You know, it's not the true bushcrafting style, but it's going to produce the same results. Also, to save time, I've already collected a good handful of leaves here, and I've chopped them into, just roughly chopped them into small pieces. So I have my needles prepared here, chopped into roughly about 1-inch long pieces. I've got some water boiling in the pot. Basically all I'm going to do is take my needles, put them in another pot here. Okay, so when preparing your tea by this method, it's not necessary to completely boil your water. You just want to bring it up to almost boiling. We've got our water here is very hot. It's just about to start rolling. So I'm going to go ahead and take it off of the fire. And I've got my pine needles here. I'm just going to pour this water over my needles. So we poured the water over our needles. We're going to cover it and just allow it to steep for at least 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes, and then it should be ready. I'll point out that in this method I've heated my water separately and then poured it over the pine needles. Some people like to put the pine needles into the water and heat it, even boil it with the needles in the water. I've tried it both ways, and I don't really notice any difference in the flavor of the tea. Some people will say that boiling the pine needles cooks out the vitamins or destroys the vitamins. I've done a little bit of research on that, and the verdict is kind of still out on that. I would say it's not really a concern. There's so much vitamin C in pine needles that even if it's true that some of it is destroyed, you're still going to have quite a lot of vitamins in your tea. So I really wouldn't be too concerned about that. So we're just going to allow this to steep for 15-20 minutes, and then we'll check it out. Okay guys, so our tea has been steeping for about almost 20 minutes now. The longer you can leave it, kind of the better you are, but 15-20 minutes is certainly good enough. So we're going to go ahead and filter out the pine needles and get it in our mug and try it out. Now what I'm using here is a coffee filter. I've got a number 4 coffee filter in this GSI coffee flexible coffee filter. Just had it handy, so I'm going to use that to filter my tea. So I'm just going to pour it in this filter. We'll wait for that to strain out. Certainly if you get some needles in your tea, it's no big deal, but if you have a filter handy like this, certainly makes it more efficient. Pine needle tea is naturally sweet. I usually don't add any sweetener to my pine needle tea. However, you can sweeten it to taste if you prefer. I would suggest using something like raw cane sugar or agave nectar, or perhaps some raw honey. Preferably you would acquire those from organic sources to keep it as natural as possible. But of course taste is a very personal thing, so you'll just have to experiment and see what works best for you. So let's check it out. Looks like we're pretty strained out. I don't think you'll be able to tell, but it does take on kind of an amber color, and the longer you can steep it, the better. Let's give it a taste test. That's pretty good. Very tasty. So making this tea is a lot of fun. It's great to get outdoors and hunt around looking for the proper tree, harvesting your needles and preparing the tea. Also, you are participating in a tradition that goes back thousands of years, and very healthy as well, with a lot of vitamins and minerals that are very important for survival, especially if you're out backpacking or you're in a survival situation out in the woods. Hope you guys enjoyed this short video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you along the trail.